Hey everybody, it's Holly Burns, and just want to first of all say thank you so much to all the new subscribers that are watching my videos. Having so much fun doing them, and I'm having so much fun hearing that they've been helping you guys. Wonderful. I learn a ton by getting ready for them and doing them. It's a process. We're all learning all the time. We're growing and learning together. And today, the elders wanted to share with us some new information about the treatments. The different ones, we're going to kind of go through them, see what they want to say about that. And they have some really cool consciousness stuff to share with us as well. And we're just going to get into it because I don't want to waste a lot of time on the intro. We have a lot of content to get to. Okay, so the first thing they said was, I said, what do you want us to know today about the treatments for COVID-19? They said, we are outgrowing the need for experiences like these. Yay! Okay, what that means is, as a planet, we are outgrowing the need to bond with each other through tragedy. Yay! What do you guys do when there's a mass shooting? What happens? We all bond. Take down our barriers, see each other as people, interact. I mean, it's a whole different thing. We're done. They just said from 911 to now, they kind of like took all the biggies. They're like, we're done. We're done. We can now bond from positive energy with each other, positive experience. We don't have to bring on some big, huge thing that blows us all apart and makes us go, hey, now I know what's important in my life. We're getting past having to do that. Yay. Good. Thank you very much. Thank you, planet. Okay. We'll get into that. That's a whole other video right there. We can get into that later. They also said for all the different treatments, it's a time of trial right now, but a solution is near at hand. Yeah. So what they're talking about is all the different treatments are vying for the first spot. They want to first of all talk about, before we get into the treatments, they want to talk about this really, really cool article that my friend Joel Dixon had on his timeline that totally jumped out for me. And I can totally share it here in the comments section if anybody wants to actually read it, because I think a lot of you might be interested in it. It just totally made sense to me. This person and several other people are saying that they feel that what COVID is actually hypoxia, starving your body of oxygen, or suffocation, versus pneumonia. And that we've been treating it wrongly up till now because we've been misunderstanding it. And that the ventilators, when people are on ventilators, they're like, okay, but the blood is still pumping. The heart is still pumping strongly to the lungs. That's a sign of hypoxia. With pneumonia, it affects usually only one lung, first of all, for one thing. Maybe it spreads to two, but they said many times it's only one lung. And with hypoxia, it's always both lungs. And they said COVID affects both lungs every single time. They also explained what's happening to cause the hypoxia. COVID affects the hemoglobin and affects specifically the iron ions in your blood, in the hemoglobin itself. And we need these iron ions to be in place to be able to transfer oxygen throughout our body. These iron ions are usually protected by really protective little barriers that keep it from being communicated with to the rest of the body. It can't touch the rest of the body. It has to be in these little barriers. So they go around the little barriers, and then they go to the very ends of our lungs and they grab oxygen by some different, it's like electrical. I didn't write that part down, but it says E something something. Anyway, like with ions and this and that, it can, like, you know, how like when thunder and lightning happens in the clouds and we have lightning, because the different, everything in the clouds just changes from positive to negative, and all this subtracts, all that kind of stuff makes I'm sorry you were laughing. I'm laughing too. Okay. I didn't mean to get into that part, but anyway, the ions are really important to transfer oxygen to the rest of the body. What COVID does is it gets in the middle of that and it releases the ions out, I'm assuming into the bloodstream, recklessly. And they're not supposed to be like that. They're supposed to be protected in these little protected bubbles till they get out. Then they can switch over. They can carry oxygen and go on their merry way and bring oxygen to all our organs. But the COVID is stopping that from happening and it's releasing them. I imagine like the Furbies, when the guy says, don't put water on the Furbies. is like that happening inside our body. Okay, COVID is putting water on the Furbies inside our bodies. And I'm laughing, okay, because I'm hearing you guys laughing. But that's what it's doing. And it's not supposed to be able to do that because these iron ions are supposed to not be able to go out to the rest of the body loose like that. So what happens is they stop being able to carry oxygen. They're just like everywhere. Hey, I'm like all over the place. They're not doing their job anymore. They're not carrying oxygen around our body. So then the liver says, hey, wait a minute. We don't have enough oxygen. And it releases more iron ions into the body through the hemoglobin, more red blood cells out into the body. And then the COVID's like, thank you. Yeah. And it just gets worse really fast. That's how people go from like at home being sick to like, whoa, dying on the way to the hospital because it snowballs really, really fast. And it's all about the iron ions and the oxygen content inside our bodies. That just made total sense to me. I'm like, dude, why isn't the whole planet talking about this? This is huge to me. Huge, 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 huge. And also, some of the treatments work on that. And so that to me just lines up. Totally lines up. And the elders made it line up. I mean, totally jump out for me too. And they said, now that we understand that, many new options will come available. So, big steps forward here happening with understanding the sickness. So, one thing they want to mention before we get into the treatments is that the press always says, currently there's no treatment for the virus. And then they say, currently there's no approved treatment for the virus. And they just made that just, when I read that just now before I was preparing the video, because they're like, you know what? There's a lot of treatments. There's a lot of treatments available right now. A lot. Currently, there's no treatment approved by the FDA. Currently, there's no treatment yet that is, gone through all of its clinical studies and finished its studies. But there's a lot of ways we can treat this. So, open up your minds. And the elders said, they just said to me now to tell you guys, let your personal flows flow. So, whatever you're led to, and I'm going to tell you about a story about what one of my friends was led to that you will never even heard of this, but she got it in a dream, and it totally makes sense to me. Okay, we'll get into that. But they said there's currently many, many other solutions being manifested. They said there's infinite ways to handle this. And, that's what they always say. The universe always gives us infinite answers. And the planet's pretty big. So there's a lot of plants on the planet. They can cure this virus. I guarantee you, combinations of plants already sitting here, right here. And also all kinds of other drug treatments and things we can combine together. And they said there are, hold on, I have to pull this tab down because my thing is not where I can see it right. Okay. Hold on, I'm trying to make that bigger. Okay. What I did there, I lost my place with my notes. Yeah. Okay. The next thing they wanted to say was, in May, there'll be a shift. I already covered that. It's an end of an era. So, that really jumped out at me. That was coming up in May-ish. End of an era. And they meant a short-term era with the virus. So like the end of the era of us being completely panic-stricken about it, I think, is what they meant by that. Because maybe we're going to get somewhere with some of these treatments and we're going to feel better about it. And we're going to also, they just said right now that I think the levels of new cases are going to start leveling off across the world after May because of the social distancing. It's really going to start working on that. And so they just said end of an era. We'll know more when we get through May and we see what actually happens. Okay, into the treatments. New drug taken orally. EIDD 2801. Just heard about this like yesterday. Wow. Okay. So the American company that's making the remdesivir, that drug has to be taken intravenously right now. I don't know if they're working on it in pill form. I tried to Google it, didn't get anything on that. maybe some of you guys that are scientists and are on the inside can put something in the comments section. But as far as I know right now, it can only be taken intravenously. But the elders are saying wonderful treatment for people that come into the hospital and are super, super sick. Like, great. This is great stuff. Because I think we're going to have like several ways to treat it coming up pretty soon. It's not just going to be one thing. So I'm thinking to myself, well, which one matches that sign I got in March that said new antibiotic? And I felt like it was going to be coming down the pipes within 6 months or so, and that it was going to be distributed free across the planet in some way where we're going to be able to access it, either paid for by some rich people, rich companies, or, anyway, people are going to be able to get it without having to pay for it. Blah, 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 blah. Well, I think this EIDD might be it. I'll know a little bit more come May, but I'm guessing right now, because I asked the elders, what do you think about that? They gave me the Ace of Pentacles, which is it's a big pentacle. It takes up the whole card. And that usually means one track thought, one big thing. And so I feel like this drug is going to work really well, and it might be the match to that sign they said about the new antibiotic. Oh, I also remember it was going to be an American company that was coming up with it, and this company's from Florida. So I'm super excited about this new drug. It's already been in the final stages of being tested from what I recall from my notes. So very, very good energy about that. Really good. The elder said it's no better than the hydroxychloroquine and zinc, but this one has a path of least resistance before it. So they're talking about the drugs that are going to actually come up with the winning positions across the planet are the ones that are going to have the path of least resistance. They're not necessarily the best treatments. They have the most money behind them. They might have a head start time-wise. Things like that are going to make them win. They said it's kind of like American Idol. You don't always see the best singer win the competition. It's other factors involved in addition to their singing ability that makes people get the votes. Kind of like that. So they said it would be better for the press to say there are many, many solutions versus there are no known cure for the virus and no approved treatment. It makes everybody feel like so much heavier energy than we need to be feeling. Now they want to talk about the hydroxychloroquine and the zinc combo. Man, I was just screaming about this about a half hour ago. Looking at a video with a doctor and a guy interviewing the doctor. Everybody's so down on Trump about this. The elder said he was right on. And the end of that article that I read about how the COVID affects the body said that I always have to look at it when I say it, hydroxychloroquine, or think like that. Hydroxychloroquine mixed with zinc makes sense working on the virus, because what do we need into our blood? We need zinc back in so that we can start binding to oxygen again. So it's really, really good treatment. Like, I'm just screaming, like, this is so good. And the elders want to say, but get this, isn't it kind of crazy that the side effect they're worried about right now is the heart? Okay, we got to talk about that quick, because the heart chakra, the heart energy. And this was the first treatment to come up to be really, really, really promising. It still is. The elders just said it still is. Still is really, really promising. But the thing that's slowing it down is something with the heart. Do you know why? Because heartache is a big frequency that caused the pandemic in the first place. So it's slowing it down, isn't it? The heart side effects. I don't know if you know this, but if you take a really high dose of this drug, it can make your heart get faster, beat faster. So they're looking into that right now and trying to get the dosages figured out so that we don't have that side effect. And the press is giving this an unfair shake, because I just read a brand new article coming out a few hours ago, and it says, for the headline, it says, studies halted early. Okay, if you read the whole article, it said the high dose part of the study is stopped early, and that the low dose is not seeing the side effects. Oh, Ugh, just makes me so frustrated. People, please do not get sucked in to the fear mongering out there. Just don't do it. So that's really, really good. And the elders just said, big. At the end of the article I read, they were talking about, or somewhere, I think it was the next post that Joel had on his Facebook timeline, another article. Yeah, it was a link. Yeah, somebody in the comments section of that article that my friend Joel had a link to a doctor in California that tried it and had 100% success within 8 to 12 hours after giving hydroxychloroquine with zinc to his patients. They had like 0 symptoms in 8 to 12 hours. I don't know why this isn't all over. Super good information. So I hope that we can not let fear-mongering, not let egos, because there's a lot of egos going on right now too. The doctor talking about it on the interview I just watched before I was starting the video. The guy's like, okay, so Trump's touting the hydroxychloroquine with the zinc. What's up with that? What's bad about it? Or what do you see as bad about it? I was like, first of all, he asked the wrong question. And then the doctor's saying, well, the supplements, they're largely, I can see if you're taking a supplement, if you have a vitamin deficiency. And it's largely needed if you have and he said, it's largely unregulated. So you really don't know what you're getting when that's what they always say. Oh, that's what they always say. The medical doctors, I love you guys, but some of you guys, my allergist, I had the same problem with my allergist. Oh, drugs were derived from natural things on the planet. Where do you think we get the idea for drugs in the first place in the last 50 years? From plants. Most of the time from the chemical compounds of plants. Okay, I'm calming down now. All right. So, that's a good one. Let it go, people. Don't believe all the hyped press, but I'm afraid that the first one, the EID 2801 or the remdesivir are going to win because of money. Big pharma, something new, and they can get it out really fast, pump out 1 million of them, but that's okay. I just want the best thing to win for the human body. I want what's going to be the best for the human race, not what's going to make the most money for the right company to get through. That's the problem. Egos are getting involved. But never fear. There's a lot of ways we can handle this, and it's going to come out fine. It's going to come out fine. And we're going to have a lot of ways to do it. So some of the things that I want you to know about too are things you can just take the bull by the horns like these doctors are doing. Yay! Some of them are doing great things and trying really new things. And the elders want to talk about that too. They said they're flowing these ideas to the right people in the right places. There's a lot of doctors right now. It's another thing they want to say about the treatments. A lot of doctors are out there getting new ideas to try. Like one just tried a blood clotting drug, not one that it breaks up the blood clot. Breaks up blood clots that are already existing, because one of his patients was getting really bad blood clots in their lungs, and he's like, how can I fix this? And he was a pulmonary doctor in the first place, so he knew what he was doing. He tried the blood clots breaking up, and it worked really good with several patients. So they're getting new ideas, and so are you. Follow what you're getting for your own health. For me, it was elderberry. I found like a month ago, they're like elderberry. Okay, great. I later found out elderberry stops viruses from being able to penetrate cells. I'm like, wow, that's big. I've been drinking elderberry tea for a month and taking double vitamin D. That's another video. So I want to tell you this time about my friend Jody and her wormwood dream. My friend Jody has been an herbalist for many, many, many years, doing her own herbal treatments for herself and her family. Now she owns a wellness boutique called Jewelweed in Wayzata, Minnesota. They do have online sales, so you can check them out. Jewelweed shop in Wayzata. And she had a dream about, I think a week ago. And she was being shown wormwood. If I get the details wrong, Jody, you can correct me in the comments section. But as soon as she told me that, I was like, wow, That's big, Jody. That's big for you. For you personally, that is definitely big for your physical shell. And maybe for many other people too. I mean, really. What I would recommend that people do a study on wormwood. Let's get out there and see what the chemical compounds of this is and how it can kill coronavirus, because I really think it can. But no one knows because it's a plant, and we're not ready for that yet. We want a pill. So that's what we're manifesting to the forefront. The elders are saying there's lots of other things besides the pill, but it's probably going to be a pill, because that's where we are right now. But the wormwood, get this. So I asked her yesterday, how does the wormwood work? Because I'm making a video. And she said, well, it's typically used to kill intestinal parasites. And it's super, super strong. And you can only take, she said, I would only take a couple of drops. And she said, I would not recommend it on anybody without first testing them. Because she can do a test to see if it's safe for you to take, or if your body would accept it well. She's like, don't just go out and take wormwood. Because it's so strong. It is so powerful. It was actually banned in the US for a few years, like 100 years, I think I read, that it was banned for. And lately in modern times, maybe for a few years too. It is like really, really, really strong. But it's a plant. And it grows naturally. And guess what? It works the same way ivermectin works, I think. Because ivermectin is also a drug that is being tested right now on coronavirus, has been shown to kill it in a petri dish. And guess what it does? It kills parasites in the intestines. So I just feel like, whoa, that's really big. So some really cool things can come in our flow. So she knows how to make tinctures. So she's like, I'm going to make sure me and my family have wormwood tincture ready to go for us, because we know what we're doing with it. And it feels aligned for our family and for us. So everybody's family has their own thing. You guys have your own health stuff. Trust it. Listen to it. And go with the flow on what you think you should be taking, what you think you should be doing. Everybody has their own individual wellness plan. And we don't have to look at what everybody else is doing. We have to look at what our own individual body's crying for at that time and what we think we need, so that we feel confident and not scared and freaked out. So do what you need to do. Okay, another video. I'm trying to keep this short. That's another video. We're not getting into that today. Okay, the next thing I want to say is that we're running in circles. This is the consciousness lesson that we need to be aware of. So Ariel, yes. Or some of my other friends and clients have been asking some questions on some of those other videos. I'm trying to think who else. Darcy, yes, running in circles. So Darcy and Ariel were asking some questions about that kind of stuff with the virus. They're like, why is this happening? Is this a consciousness lesson that we're not aware of? So they said, yeah, we're running in circles. They wanted to bring it up in this video again. Really important. So let's explain this. I said, what are you talking about running in circles? I started playing a song that was talking about running in circles. And I'm going, why is this song playing in my head right now? And I Googled it and I'm like, okay, I get it. It's a modern song right now. I forget the artist, but I can tell you later. Okay. So they said, what's happening is we need to see the cure before we can relax and believe that we can stay well. That's running in circles. But that's going to happen pretty soon. I think May-ish. Hopefully something will be enough confidence. People, numbers will be leveling off, whatever. We already covered that. But running in circles. Be careful about running in circles. They want to explain this, how we're all still running in circles. We're all on the hamster wheel and we don't know it. We don't get it. This is for another video too. We'll get into that later, but the gist of this is this. If you have to see something in order to believe it, that's running in circles, because you're manifesting your own self over and over and over. Regurgitation, Abraham Hicks calls it. So they said, if we need to see the cure before we can all relax, then we're going to relax, right? Once we see the cure, well, we can relax. We have a cure now. They said we should be like that now. If you're like that now, guess what happens? We manifest the cure 3 times as fast. Because if we're on the frequency of relaxedness, we're going to not stop it from coming. When we're tense and we're scared, the universe hears, okay, they're tense, they're scared, they're ordering up worries, they're ordering up heavy energy today. That's what they're ordering. Okay, well, that's what we get. Takes us a long time. Lot longer to manifest things when we do it that way. Instead, the elders said, please go into your inner hearts and your inner beings and ask deep inside what you're worried about. And most of the time you're going to say, yeah, we're going to get through it. Is the planet going to get through it? Yeah. Are people going to get back to work? Yeah. Okay. Take a deep breath. Go to that frequency. That's much better. It's going to bring us the cure 3 times as fast. If everybody on the planet was there, we wouldn't even have the sickness, the elders just said. We wouldn't have even had it. The pandemic, they just said the pandemic would have happened so fast. They would have come out in China. They would have, boom, been done. Wouldn't have even gotten out of China. But what happened? We called it to us. We call it to us for months. Okay? Big stuff. Wow. Thank you, elders. That was cool. That wasn't in my notes. That just came new. That example. Really good. What they just said about that the pandemic wouldn't have even happened. So that's our consciousness lesson for today. And they said that's also happening in the medical field with the doctors. And they don't realize that either. That the doctors are waiting for the pandemic to happen. Then they look at it and then they analyze what's happening. And so that's where they are right now on the planet, but that's okay. It's good. The doctors are doing so much good for everybody. And they said they need to go deeper into the human body and really study and learn before they can come back out to the new technologies that are available on the planet but haven't been discovered yet. And they showed me a patient and somebody was holding a wand. They were waving the wand over the patient. The wand was doing something to the patient with their energy. And so that was a new technology that we don't know about yet. That hasn't come through yet. And so the doctors are kind of in a hamster wheel as well, where they're like, okay, we got to look at it. We got to analyze it. We got to cut it apart. And they're like, so the progression of that will be that they'll go as deep as they can get and then they'll come back out. And right now they're still in the going deeper part. And the elder said that's just fine. They're just exactly where they're supposed to be. We're exactly where we're supposed to be with their health. And they're doing great. And they said, keep up the good work is what they said. They said they are amazed at how fast. They said even though they do look at things and wait for them to kind of happen and then treat them. Because that's kind of how fast we can work right now with all that type of thing. They said they're doing like really unbelievably fast work, and thank you for all of them. And I said, what else you want to say? And they said, appreciate someone in your life. They said, when you're having trouble with despair, try to appreciate someone in your life. This is really important because it's going to help us get past, when they said we're past the level of creating pandemics, if we start appreciating someone in our life, that switches our frequency from despair to appreciation, and it gives us more things to appreciate. So this is the step they want us to take, from despair to looking around and appreciating. That will really slow down the rate of more things like pandemics coming down the pipe and keep us, they said, it will help you to positively bond with each other from a positive frequency versus needing to bring forth tragedies in order to feel more close and be really in touch with our own hearts. They said, remember to celebrate the simple joys of life as well. Really, really important. They said, every day, just enjoy your little small things. They said, like, enjoy that cup of tea. Savor the smell of that flower. They're like, stuff like that's really, really, really important for us to be doing right now across the entire planet. They said, that's going to shift your trajectories away from the pandemic and really get you going in the direction that you need to be going with the ascension of the human race. And we're really doing that quickly in the next few years. So that's really important. They also said, catch where you are right now. When you hang up this video, when we're done with the video, and you go off about your day, don't go back to like, oh yeah, that pandemic. Oh yeah, that really bad sickness. Oh yeah. Or like, catch yourself. We all do it. We all do it. We're like, oh yeah, we're in the middle of this heavy stuff. Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah. People out of work. Yeah, we wake up in the morning and they're like, oh yeah, we're in the middle of this time, this trying time. Try not to go there. Do not sustain a frequency that's going to create more of something we don't want, is what they're saying. And then the last thing they said was that we're going through a big rebirth. Really, 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 really big rebirth. They said wars will stop soon on the planet. We are like really going through, heading toward at Mach speed, super huge shifts. Awesome stuff, they said. And the last thing they said was, I said, okay, what do you want to say? They said, and so it begins. And I was just like, what? And so it begins. And that's big. Like, they I felt like the whole earth went through a tremor when they said that. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Because they know what our future is going to be. And what I downloaded from that when I asked them more about that was the next 3 years are going to be big. And we just kind of shifted ourselves to that trajectory of that. And we're headed towards some big stuff in the next 3 years. But good. Big growth. Big stuff. That's all I know for now. We'll have to go through it more, and we'll have to get more signs from them down the pipe. So that's all I have for today. Thanks for watching. Also, don't forget, I have a lot of new content coming up. So if you do want to be notified, click that notifications bell after you subscribe. That notifications bell gives you a choice to let you know when new content comes up. Have a good night. Thanks.